What I will say, I know we got a lot to cover, but it makes me think about the fact that the lack of traceability to our roots in that way has been one of the most successful tools of colonization
Yes.
and unsustainability.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
But here's the thing, what I've been thinking about for a minute. It's the same thing for white people. Because they can't trace their lineage neither.
And they don't want to.
But my question is, I mean, part of it is like that is the trade off with whiteness, right? Your ancestors arrived here from Italy or Scotland or Ireland, and the trade off was y'all leave all of that across the ocean, your language, your religion, your heritage, your traditions, and you're going to trade it in for this white card, and this white card is going to take you to the front of the line. But you got to leave all that other stuff behind. And I think a lot of white people can't trace their lineage either. And that's something that I think is quintessential to this New World experience that we haven't really wrestled with, because there's a lot of trauma in that, like across the board. And I think we as Black people have a lot more visibility into it because we understand the power of race in ways that white people just do not. I know, I'm sorry, I took us down a rabbit hole. But to your point, when did you first know you were Black in America?
that's a deep ass question. Let me preface that by saying in Oakland, where I grew up, I went to an all Black elementary school. I'm talking about we learned Kwanzaa all the way to composting in a predominantly Black space, Black teachers. My village, I lived in a middle class to potentially upper class community in Oakland. My village was Black soccer team, Black swimming team, all Black everything before it was even, coined that. And so Blackness was so entrenched in my DNA, like having a village and tribe mindset was so ingrained in how I grew up and my approach to everything without even knowing it. I didn't realize that there was this Black framing until I left elementary school and had to go to a predominantly white middle school. Now, that's when I started to conceptualize this ideology of Black. Now, Black American, taking it a step further, isn't truly until I left Oakland. And
Wow.
I feel like, yeah, it gets deep. So I divided it. There's this, when did you realize you were, Black? But then when you realize you're Black American, it's not till I left Oakland, because I felt even in predominantly white spaces, when I left elementary school in Oakland, I still didn't feel the necessary pressures of being an American, because the ecosystem of the Black Panthers lived, that community engagement, that creativity, those cultural economics still were in the ethos of Oakland growing up. And so once I stepped out and came to New York, and I'm not obviously shitting on New York, but I didn't vibrate in my Blackness, my Black Americanness, the beauty of it, the joy of it, the dopeness of it, as high once I left and settled here. And so that's when I realized.
Yeah, I said wow because there's like Black American and then there's Black in America.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're akin and they overlap, but they're not the same. And I said wow because especially in law school, I remember somebody trying to explain. I had a classmate who was from Rwanda, and people were really trying to drill down to her, when you come here, you're Black, like this whole concept of, which is a whole separate conversation as to how the different experiences within the diaspora and like when people identify with the Black experience here. But she described it in a way that's similar to how my mom describes it, which is like when everything around you is Black, you don't necessarily see yourself as black. Because your reference point is that everyone is you, right?
Right.
Like, and within that space, that means there's still some people you fuck with, you don't fuck with. Like,
Absolutely.
there's a range of the
Absolutely.
personhood, but it's not on the range of like the color spectrum and then the things that come as a result of the color spectrum. And so when you said that when I left Oakland, and we don't talk enough about that, that there are spaces that are also spaces of abundance that exist in villages that are here, that when people leave, that's when the awareness of both Black American or Black in America hits you, because there's also this layer, there's this thing that people aspire to, which is in being American, but there's actually something that it feels like kind of got, it's almost like the covering of Blackness left you when you left Oakland. And now it's like, oh shit, I'm in America. Like I was in my village, and now I'm in America.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it's just very interesting how you describe that.
Absolutely. And also what's interesting too is trying to find other Black Americans in a place where the diversity of Blackness is so rich here.
Yeah.
And so that was an interesting experience as well. And I'm coming thinking, you black, we all black. There was no division of Blackness to me. And so coming here and realizing that there were divisions of Blackness was an interesting experience. And that was the culture shock for me.